You see them online, real estate entrepreneurs. But how are they doing it? And what are they doing different? We've got the answers. This is the Real Estate Block. Interviewing real estate entrepreneurs doing consistent real estate deals. If you want to be a real estate entrepreneur or you're already in the business, we've got on the pros that give the secrets and strategies to make it happen. This is the Real Estate Block, and this is your host, Aaron Gaunt.
All right. Welcome to the Real Estate Block podcast, where we bring on the guests to ask them the hard questions by taking a deep dive into how they built their teams, marketing strategies, systems, and processes on how they've built a machine that spits out consistent deal flow month after month. Where the value given to this show will help you create and find consistent real estate deals. Today, I have my good friend, Felipe. How are you doing?
What's going on, everybody? How you doing? What's up, Aaron?
Dude, I'm so glad and so happy that you took the time out of your day to hop on this show to give some value. Dude, Felipe, tell me what were you doing prior to real estate, and why the heck did you decide to get into real estate?
Oh, wow. Well, great question. Super excited to be here. And kudos to you, man. You've been just crushing it, doing a great job, and this is exciting to be on this broadcast. So, why did I decide to get into real estate? What did I do before? So, little bit about my background. I was serving in the military. Okay. So back in 97 to 2001, I was in the Marine Corps. Semper Fi to all the Marine Corps vets out there, and active duty. And so, when I got out, or as I was transitioning out of the military, I figured, okay, I need to figure out how I'm going to survive. Right. So I did my 4-year tour. I said, well, let me see what I can go find out in town, and was working at, I got a job at an Albertsons right there in town in San Clemente, where I was living at the time after the military, and quickly moved up to like operations with Albertsons, as background was logistics and infantry with the Marine Corps. So moved up to operations in like a year and a half, and was just chilling over at Albertsons in Laguna Beach, which was awesome, right across from the ocean. It was just awesome. But everybody has always told me my entire life, why aren't you in sales? Why aren't you in sales? Why aren't you in sales? So this is back in 2003, 2004. I took the leap, so to speak, and I went 100% commission doing sales in the lending industry. And so not my forte, not something that I'm super like excited about. I've never been a fan of just dialing and cold calling, all the pain that you guys are experiencing right now. I've been there, done that, and I was doing that with lending, but I quickly moved up, got promoted, was running and operating a branch, and had my own lending team. Was the rookie of the year, was the top sales guy for the year, all that good stuff.
Wow.
But it just never was my passion. So at some point I decided, I really enjoy working with people and not feeling like I'm harassing them, right, so to speak. So I ended up getting my real estate license and kind of took off from there. And that's kind of how it just transitioned into real estate.
Awesome. So, just to kind of let the guests know, you are a real estate agent, real estate broker, running Century 21 preferred right now. Also, I hang my real estate license, my newly real estate license that I decided to get at your brokerage. So we had to get you on here. But that being said, so people were telling you, because here's the thing, as we already know, real estate is not necessarily always and mostly not about the real estate. It's about sales and marketing.
Yes. So
how did you decide to, when they were telling you, hey, you're a top sales guy, how'd you get into sales, head first? Did you take any courses? Did you read any books? Or did you just kind of go and be yourself and just kill it in the lending industry?
Well, and in sales, as you know, Aaron, people either can take training, but there's some of us out there that we have a natural knack for being able to have a conversation with people. And then we need to sharpen our tool belt by taking some training and education, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I definitely am a believer. In the very beginning, I'll be honest, I was cocky and I said, you know what, I don't believe all this crap. I'm not going to go walk on hot coals and do all that stuff. But, I definitely increased my business, and my business boomed when I started listening to the professionals. Tom Hopkins, old Tommy Hopkins.
Yeah.
You guys, some of you know him, some of you don't know him. Tom Hopkins was the first time that I saw a live event, and Brian Tracy. Amazing, amazing speakers, great sales professionals and training. And I highly recommend, if you've never heard their books, if you've never seen them live. I think Brian Tracy still to this day does events here and there. I think he had one in Anaheim a couple of years back. So, but that was the first time that it really clicked for me. And when I went to one of those events, I was kind of forced to go, and took my lending team at the time.
Okay.
And Brian Tracy was the one that got me into writing down your goals and putting it in a little piece of paper and putting it away somewhere, and looking from a 1 year perspective, and then looking back at that goal set that you made a year ago and seeing how you did. That was the first time that it was eye opening. I had put on there, like most of us do, like, whatever, I'll put this much or that much. I put $250,000, and this is back in like 2007. And to me, that was just like, whatever, I'll play game. I'll put 250. I crushed it. I passed that goal that year, and I said, holy cow, there's something here. So I started following ever since then, understanding the importance of educating yourself so that you can educate others, right? So with sales, as you mentioned, real estate for me, it's really the passion's about educating the consumer. And so it doesn't feel as salesy, so to speak. But I tell all my agents all the time, there's no way you'll be successful if you don't have some sales training or background, right? You have to understand how to negotiate.
100%.
You have to understand how to mirror a customer. You have to understand some of these ways to respond best and negotiate so that everybody wins, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
No, one thing I like about sales, and me coming from the fire department, I had no idea what sales was, but you're right. You got to have some type of personality already, and a fearless personality. And also a lot of people think that you got to have this like extroverted personality, not necessarily.
Yeah.
But one thing I realized is when I got into sales, realizing that when I decided to get into real estate, that it was sales, and I dug head first into sales. I did like a deal, I think up to 1 to 3 deals, and then I read the book Asking Questions, the Sandler way. So then I learned the Sandler system, learning how, like you just said, the mirroring and all that stuff, and learning all those techniques. And even it hasn't just helped me in my real estate game, but also just talking to you, being on this podcast. Exactly. I always tell people on my team and my acquisition guys. And I say, hey, when you read these things in the books, this is just going to help you with, your significant other, your family, your friends, etc. So,
absolutely. I love this. We can go off cuff too, man. This is great. I love this.
Felipe, let me ask you this. Okay, so you hit your $250,000 goal your very first year back in the day. What was your couple deals when you were doing all agent stuff?
Yeah, so in the beginning, like I said, I was doing lending first, and so the year that I sat down at that conference with Brian Tracy, wrote down my goals. That was me being in the lending industry and teaching some of those tools and those tactics from that conference with my team at the time. And I think I had a team of about 8 individuals that were all under me as a lending branch, so to speak. And, we crushed it that year. And that's when it truly hit home that without training, there's no way you're going to step up your game and be relevant consistently. Right. So that was lending. But again, my passion was always, more, it was something else. It's like, this wasn't for me. The lending thing wasn't for me. I don't know why. Just for whatever reason, it just wasn't my thing. And I enjoyed being out and about more and seeing people and talking with them. And, there's no better satisfaction. And I'm sure you can attest to this, than helping somebody and giving them their first set of keys, right? Helping somebody purchase that first home, helping a family get out of a situation that they're in so that they can sell their property and move on to another property, helping somebody buy their first investment.
Right.
That is a huge satisfaction, which I'm sure you guys have been doing that time and time again with your other entities and things like that. So to me, that was like, oh, this is it. So I said, I want to go all in on this. And that I went all in real estate. I believe it was the end of 2008, the beginning of 2009, at the worst time, right? And I moved from Orange County to Riverside County, and I was like, I don't know anybody out here. How am I going to be a real estate professional? How am I going to get sales? So in those days, the short sale market and the real estate owned market, the REO market was that was it. And so you literally had to have, 6, 7, 10 listings at a time to get paid on 1 or 2 deals because escrows were taking a year to close.
Wow. Okay.
It was a completely different market. So when people say the market's shifting right now, you know what? We've all been there, done that. Those of us that have been in the business, and this is fine. We're in a normal market right now. I'm excited for you and your team, Aaron, because I know you guys are going to crush it this year. I'm excited about what we're going to be doing this year because, let everybody think what they think. The market's going to be fine. It's going to be great.
Well, I love that positivity. And I mean, what kind of things have you been seeing in your brokerage right now with real estate agents? Because I know a lot of people were struggling, but it seems like you're kind of a guy who likes to motivate. And I mean, with all these new agents or people that were doing deals, I mean, what are you guys seeing right now on that end?
So what I've been promoting to my team right now, and we have close to 150 agents here at Century 21, but it's never been my goal to be the largest brokerage in town. I like to work with professionals, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit, about hobbies versus being a professional, things like that. So to me, what I've been telling and preaching to my team here is the last 2 years in real estate, throw them out the door, throw them out the window, forget about them. They don't count.
Right.
And Aaron, I'm sure you can understand this, that, somebody that purchased a home in 2019, okay, what was the price point in 2019 versus today? And if you actually look at that figure, you'll notice that there still is a little bit of appreciation from 2019.
Oh, okay.
Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, let's just forget about the last 2 years because I'm sure you'll agree that's just a random occurrence. It'll never happen again. It was the weirdest thing. We would literally put a house on the market and it was gone in 5 seconds, right? Yeah. So when the market is that good, what I think that happens is that it creates a lot of untrained agents, right? So
Yep.
you'll see the agents like, oh my gosh, I sold a house in 5 seconds. They'll post it on social media. I'm the best,
Yep.
Call me to help you, but they don't learn how to actually be a realtor. They don't learn the process. They don't learn how to negotiate with somebody.
Yep.
Well, what do you mean you're not offering me above asking price, no appraisal, no contingencies? So what I'm noticing right now is if we forget about the last 2 years and focus on today's facts and data, you'll notice that there still is appreciation from 2019 to 2022. Homes still appreciated. Interest rates are going back to a normal level, right? The thing that scared most people was the fact that interest rates went from 3% to 6% in a day, right? So that's what scared everybody. But now they're starting to realize, okay, it's kind of the dust is settling. Right. So I kind of project that, with inflation, interest rates are going to go back down to about the 5s, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. Right. And the one thing we have going for us here, we're stationed out of Riverside, County, which for those of us that might be joining us on this call that don't know us, Riverside County is smack dab in between San Diego, LA, and Orange County. And so we're always the most affordable county for people and buyers, right? So business will continue to be consistent for us.
Yeah. Oh, I like it. What you just said right there. Those 2 years need to be gone. It goes right back into the beginning of our conversation, the very beginning of our conversation where sales needs to be learned. Nobody was working on their skills prior, right? We have seen, and including on our side, so many people go out of business because nobody was, even as in our wholesale company, it was, let's get a property in a contract and it sold because all these flippers were going to buy the property knowing that that was going to appreciate dramatically. A lot of flippers got lost their butts too.
Oh yeah.
Now, I mean, there are so many people that went out of business, agents, flippers, wholesalers, and it sucks. And like I say this on a couple of shows before, is that it's a bittersweet thing. I mean, yeah, there's no less competition, but it sucks seeing your friends, buddies, and people go out of business. And that's the whole reason why I decided to start this podcast, to give that value to others and for people to reach out to guys like Felipe to, kind of see what's really going on.
Well, the other thing too, Aaron, is if you look on a larger scale, I mean, you're talking about wholesaling. Look at Zillow. Look at offer. What was their offer platform?
Yep.
How much money did they? I mean, we're talking about money in the billions of dollars that they lost, and they ended up closing down that segment of their business.
Yep.
because of the fact that it wasn't making sense. They were literally purchasing homes based off of a Zestimate, thinking that they were going to flip it in a month and make money. That wasn't the case, right? So again, I feel your pain. I know that a lot of flippers, a lot of investors weren't able to get massive returns last year and a half, but we adapt, we kind of shift, we pivot, and we start focusing on where can we make money, right? How can we be productive?
100%. We had, so and I like how you bring up Zillow. I had my little girl's birthday party, and we invited some people from her daycare or preschool, whatever it was. And then when it was, one of the mothers worked at Zillow, and she told us, gave us a little insight, and said, "You're right. All that whole house buying. That's the first time I heard it. All that house buying. They said that's done. They shut that company down. They shut that side of the business down. So Zillow is not buying anymore. So that leaves. I mean, you can't blame Zillow anymore if you're not succeeding in your real estate career."
100%.
I think a lot of us were doing that, right?
A lot of us were doing it, and a lot of us were. We always look. It doesn't make sense to try to combat the big dog, and Zillow was the top dog when it came to people looking for real estate. So my thing was, hey, let's embrace it, let's look at it, but let's see what they're doing, what they're not doing, and what's working and what isn't working. And that platform, I never believed that it was going to be successful, just because of the fact that of the way they were basing their estimates was off of their platform. Right. And their CEO came out and said, yeah, our Zestimate is not 100% accurate. Well, man, I'm going to frame that and put that on my wall, because now when we're talking to sellers in our market, we got to share with that info with them.
So Felipe, before you became a broker, you were a rock star real estate agent. How did you get from doing a couple deals, doing that 250,000, probably doing a deal here and there, and then there's always this gap where it's like deal here, month goes by, then you get another deal, and then you do consistent deal flow. What would you say to somebody or one of your new agents how to get month after month consistent deal flow?
And consistency being the key, because if you're looking to have consistent business, you have to have consistent practice and tactics of what you're doing, right? So consistency is key. The one thing that I like to explain or talk to agents about is, start looking at this as a profession and stop looking at this as a hobby. If somebody's brand new, they come to my brokerage, I always tell them the exact same thing. What are you looking to get out of this? That's my first question. Well, actually, I'll back up. I'm going to answer your question. So to me, consistency is the only way, right, to be consistent and get business on a monthly basis. And it doesn't matter what you're trying to do. It doesn't matter if you're selling cars, houses, wholesaling, cold calling. If you're not consistent with your strategy, your plan, and if you're not honest with yourself about that consistent plan, there's just not going to be any way that you'll be able to be, that stable in your business and your career. Accountability is huge. And I know that, Aaron, you're a big believer in accountability. I know that you do that with your team. So, having that accountability factor to make sure that, because let's face it, cold calling, door knocking, prospecting, whatever we're talking about, it's tedious and it's frustrating, and you get beat up. So I would suggest getting an accountability partner or a mentor or a team leader like Aaron, somebody that can hold you accountable, but you need to be consistent, and you have to have a plan.
Right. So one thing we do in accountability, so we all communicate through the platform Slack, and I always ask for an EOD. And for people who don't know that, it's called, end of day report. Basically how many dials, how many, how long were you on the dialer for, or talk time, not even dialer, just talk time, contract sent out, etc. So that's kind of how we've been keeping account. Because what I heard that they don't do what you expect. Your team's going to do what you inspect. And so you got to check your numbers. You got to have and I have them without me always looking at my numbers, that their talk time, dials, etc. Instead of me looking at that, I have them report to me at the end of the day. And that's how we keep accountable.
And some people say, oh, that's brutal, and I hate that I have to actually report. Well, guess what? If somebody sticks to that, it's going to make them successful, and then they're going to look at you and say, thank you for keeping me consistent with this, because when those checks come in, that's what everybody says, okay, this actually works, right? I love telling my agents all the time, because see, with us, it's a little bit different. So I'm not sure how your setup is. With me, as you mentioned, independent contractors, not employees. I'm not paying you to be here or anybody, right? So They have to be successful. They have to do it on their own. They have to want it more than anybody. But I tell everybody, treat this as your business. It is no different than any other business that you would manage, maintain. Aaron, you're there at your office, at your location, at your business because you have to, right? Because it's yours.
Mm-hmm.
And the success and the failure of your company relies on you. So real estate is no different. And you should treat commission-only jobs exactly the same. Treat them as your business. I always use the Subway franchise analogy, and I say, hey, Joe Schmo or whoever, if I gave you a Subway franchise today and it's yours, do you think you'd be there right now? Oh, absolutely. Of course I would. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because I need to be there to make sure that it's fair. Real estate is no different. Cold calling is no different. Any commission job is no different. You're unemployed every day in commission only sales, right?
Well, I want to ask you this. So when you were a real estate agent, what made you decide not to build a real estate agent team? And obviously, I see that and notice that you went to be a broker.
Yep.
What made you want to go be a broker and not just stay active and build a real estate agent team?
To me, and it could have gone either way. So I did the team thing when I was doing lending, and so nothing wrong with it. I was the number one team, all that good stuff. We had the top sales. There's nothing. To me, it's satisfaction of knowing that I'm helping somebody succeed and become successful, right?
Okay.
So to me, my passion is educating not only the consumer, but also teaching, training, educating agents. And I love watching my agents grow from within my company. So that's been something I've been passionate about and I've been happy with. And to me, the money comes, it's not a problem. It all kind of works itself out, but I could have taken either direction. I just chose to take this route instead. Sometimes I think I'm crazy. I don't know why, but I was just looking at, and just to tie to that, like I was just looking at my, 2022 numbers, my sales. I'm starting to forecast for 2023. All top 10 of my realtors in 2022, my top 10, right? All of them started their career and have been with me here at Preferred since they began their real estate career. So that should say something in itself. To me, it's about building up from within and watching people grow their business and just helping them,
Right. That kind of being said, as a broker, what is your day-to-day, life look like? And do you have a team? I know you have agents that work and hang their license at your brokerage, but I mean, what does that look like? I mean, for you to obviously get part of the deals that are happening.
Yeah.
But I mean, are you just constantly training? I mean, because you're not saying, Aaron, get your butt in here and let's close some deals. But I mean, what does that look like?
Yeah, so it's a little bit different. So back in 2019, I actually purchased the company from the previous owner. So I'm the broker / owner of Century 21 Preferred.
Oh,
so
nice.
I own the entity, but just like you're saying, like I feel like I'm still young enough, and I don't need to be here, but I'm here because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy what I do, and that's why there's other companies that do things completely different than I do.
Okay.
You won't see other brokers doing trainings and mentorship and coaching and things that I'm doing. I do it because it's a passion and I enjoy it. But if the question is, how do I make money? Right. Well, I mean, I currently own the brokerage. So yes, of course, there's always a real estate commission split between the agent and myself. So the difference is what comes into me or to the company. Right. I don't currently have a team. I don't operate a team. I don't advertise myself to sell properties. Because I spend most of my time assisting my team, my agents, and making sure that they're successful. The more money they make, the more comes into the company, and it kind of goes from there. I do focus on commercial real estate. So I help my agents that want to dive into that world because it's completely different. And so, that's something that is also a passion of mine. So I do some commercial sales here and there, and I help my agents with that as well.
See, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I know actually, just take a step back. That's why my wife loves you guys and loves everything about what you've built, because with the training, the culture, and everything, she's always bragging about you guys, and that's why we decided to stay with you guys.
Love it.
With
And
commercial. Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks, Felipe. With commercial, are you just doing the sales, or do you own property? I mean, what does that look like?
A little bit of both. So I own some property myself, but I also have, we're basically talking about sales, and helping businesses such as yourself, when it comes time for them to, grow out of their space, we help them with acquiring new space. It's also something that, at some point, you want to own the building that you run your business in.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's all about. And that's what I try to educate a lot of my friends and family about. Hey, let's take this to another level. Okay. So we'll be having that conversation soon, Aaron, I'm sure.
Oh, well, it's funny. So we've been using a different commercial broker, but now that, again, because of this conversation, we'll be reaching out to you to see if you guys can find us an office, because we've been in this office probably for about 1.5 to 2 years, and it's been great. It's like a nice little 900 square foot office. We got it during COVID. It's literally when business were going out, and the guy who owns this building, he was trying to look for somebody. It's just the time when we were looking to move in. Got a killer deal. 900 square foot. I think we pay like $800. Like, it's killer deal right now.
Yeah.
But as our team grows, we need a bigger space.
Yeah. Visibility, space, in commercial, I like to tell, my clients, right, if it's not friends and family, I like to tell them, hey, I want to grow with your business, right? So it usually starts off by helping somebody rent a location for their business. And then after 2 years of them being profitable or making it work and outgrowing their current needs, I always tell them, okay, well, let's look, but you might want to consider buying your space, because that's really where it's at. That to me, that's really where you start taking that next leap.
I never even thought about that. So, thanks for the gold nugget.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, we'll talk all about that after the call for sure.
Felipe, let me ask you this. This is a question I do like to ask, but let me see if you can answer it in a way. What kind of marketing do you do possibly as a brokerage, or what kind of advice would you give to a real estate agent and to do their marketing?
Yeah, great question. So marketing is one of those hot topics right now for everybody, right? Every entity, every business, everybody wants to know, how much should I budget for marketing, things like that. So I keep it simple, and I always do one-on-ones with my agents, and I like to start off with a simple question: do you have a marketing budget? Right? So everybody's different, right? So especially in my realm, independent contractors, everybody's different. Some people are, retired, employed with another job, have another business like yourself. Everybody's different, and some people have a budget, some people don't. But it is shocking to me how many people get into this industry and real estate just in general, and they don't have that business owner mindset. They don't understand the concept. They've never owned their own thing or their own company. Right. So they don't understand that they come in, they get their license, and they don't even think about creating or establishing a marketing budget. So I tell them, hey, if it's $50 or $5,000 a month, just tell me what your budget is, so we can kind of assist you on what the best use of that money would be. Right. But right now, social media is probably the biggest, largest platform. It's like having a massive billboard in front of a major audience. So social media is a big push for us right now. With our recent partnership with Century 21 Affiliated, who happens to be the #1 in the world for Century 21. We have a full-fledged studio now, and it's a whole separate entity, and they dedicate themselves just on marketing. So that's where the podcast and everything else comes to play. So, we're not limited on that, but marketing is definitely a big, big push for everybody in this business. And so it starts with their goal, their individual reach, what they're trying to accomplish, and how much is their budget. Let's find the best use of that budget is probably where I would start.
Right. Yeah, it's not what I'm about to say is not maybe the best advice for everybody, but for myself, how I got started is I put all my marketing on a credit card. And we sent out direct mail, got, my first deal. I had a seller gave me a call, locked it up, did our thing, made $19,000 in 2 months. Is that going to happen all the time? No, absolutely not. But I took the risk. To me, like you just said, a business owner, right? As business owners, we got to take risk. And how high is your risk tolerance?
That's right.
And sometimes, to be honest, so my risk tolerance has always been pretty high, and I like to bring my wife in because my wife very well. And sometimes when I want to take that next step, my wife is the person who always just pushes me to just go do it.
Which is great, because sometimes we need that, right? But it's a scary thing. Being a business owner is different than being, somebody that's employed or has a W-2. And so I think a lot of us, the reason why you're successful is because you are willing to take those risks, right? You bet and you believe in yourself. And so you're accomplishing what you've probably never dreamed before, right? I mean, who knows? You probably had some of the best years of your life recently. So I totally get where you're coming from with the credit card. But the key thing I've been there, done that. So what I would advise people, or what I say, is if you're going to do something, if you're not going to commit to it for at least a year, don't do it. Don't do it. If you're going to send out mailers, I'd rather see you spend $5,000 a year on a mailing campaign that goes out every month versus $5,000 in 1 month and never do it again. There's a major difference there. So that's the key, is just what are you going to do? What's the plan? And are you going to do it for a minimum of 12 months or more? Because anything less than that, it doesn't matter. We all see how it works. I get a piece of mail, Aaron got up, trash. February, trash. March, I've seen this guy, trash. April, maybe I'm going to put it on the fridge, right? May, now I have a need. I got the number, I call you. But, January, $5,000, it goes out to everybody. It goes right in the trash, right?
That's that gold nugget right there. Felipe, let me ask you this. What is your guys' number one struggle, you think, right now as your business sits?
So right now for us in real estate, it's inventory. So a lot of people think that, the market's crashing, the market's shifting, the market's not, all this stuff. So here's some things that I found out recently is, inflation is definitely bringing down interest rates back down to the 5s this year. Okay. Appreciation, believe it or not, is stabilizing, meaning the home values and whatnot. Buyers, what's the word here? The amount of money that people are making is going up as well, right? Gotcha. In 2023. So overall, I just drew a blank. I forget the name of that. But so what that leads to is that there's going to continue to be buyer demand in 2023, and we're going to see a little bit of a spike come into the summertime. Okay. Mm-hmm. Inventory. We still need inventory. And that's probably your challenge. It's real estate's challenge. It's everybody's challenge, because when these buyers do start coming back to the woodwork, you'll notice that there's just not enough inventory out there. There's not enough houses for sale. People are really kind of just sitting back and waiting to see who's going to take that first step. So it's just really, really difficult to get somebody to decide and make the decision to sell today. Right. So 100%. Inventory is our number one challenge. And that's the thing that we coach on, we teach, we practice, how can we get more listings?
100%.
Yep.
No, and that's what we kind of see is that lag. We saw the interest rate spike. Everybody kind of stopped buying, selling, all that. And that's where I think a lot of us struggled for those 2 months. And then we literally had our best month in December. Everything kind of, you kind of do your quick adjustments. So I went to my mastermind down in Florida, and they basically said, lean out. This is not the time to work on your business, time to work in your business. Right. And make sure, you watch your spending. And that's what me and Michaela had to do. We had to sit down, we call our level 10. Yep. And we just went through our books and all right, we got to stop spending on that. We got to cut that. We got to cut that. Mm-hmm. Got to cut that. So then now we're doing good. And I like, I'm learning a lot right now on your predictions on what's going to come next year. Because that's kind of how I saw it too. I'm saying it's all hands on deck. We were kind of running a hybrid model where some people were in the mm-hmm. office, some people weren't. And I said, no, everybody needs to be in the office right now. We need communication fast. It's wartime. So I said, we're going to stay through this, which leads me to my next question. What are your strategies to get your brokers and your agents through this market change or recession, mm-hmm. whatever you want to call it, and come out even better on the other side?
And so I love that you asked that, because to me, I think I said this earlier, but everybody needs to treat this as a profession and not as a hobby. And that's kind of my slogan for 2023 is I'm looking for professional realtors, not people that want to do this part-time or doing this for fun or because they like a show on Netflix, right? So I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for professionals. So what we're doing and how we
What show are we talking about?
All those shows on Netflix that people say, I'm going to get my real estate license because I want to do that.
Is it the Sunset Show?
Hey, that one, the $1 million one, I don't care. It just people nonstop. I was thinking about getting into real estate. Why? I always start with why. Well, because I like looking at houses and I want to make $1 million and it's easy, right? So it's not easy.
So easy.
So being a professional is different than treating this as a hobby. And so what we do and the way we're going to crush this year, we're going to. The market is in between your ears, by the way, right? So the market is just in between your ears. You can't listen to what's happening and what people are saying until you get the facts and you get the numbers and you can explain to people exactly what's going on. So, there's a reason that I have agents that have been successful and have been increasing their business every single year that they've been here. Because as long as you focus on what you can control, which is the number of deals that you do or how much prospecting you do, you'll be fine. You'll crush any market. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to educate. We're going to over communicate as you're doing. Everybody got to get back, get rid of the COVID body, get rid of the COVID mentality. Time to get out of the house, get back into the office. We're going to start off by doing listing professional training starting on Wednesday, 9:30 here at the office. Anybody's welcome. You can all jump in. Let me know if you want to come by. But we're going to teach people how to be prepared when that call comes in, or when you make the call to somebody and you say, have you been thinking about selling? If they say yes, what do you do? Right? Are you prepared? Right. Or if somebody calls you or your neighbor goes to you, hey, you're in real estate, right? Well, do you think how much could I get for my house? So somebody that's treating this as a hobby is not going to be prepared, is not going to capture that lead, is not going to be able to close on that, right? But a professional is prepared, ready, has education, and is ready to take that listing and close on that. So that's what we're going to start focusing on, is just training, and over communicating to know how to be prepared when people ask you questions. Scripting is huge too, by the way. I know you're a believer in that. So scripting is huge. You have to be ready with what you want to say. If not, you're just going to stumble.
We always say that, we have scripts, and basically you want your sales, because we got sales guys, and when you want your sales guys to follow that script, but then after so it's like, now you got to somewhat be human after a while. So, but that being said, on the listing side, I like what you said. When somebody says, I want to sell, what kind of advice, or how would you personally close that deal?
Oh, wow. Great question. You're putting me on the spot now. All right. No, just kidding. So when somebody asks when somebody's ready to sell, it boils down to a few factors. We teach our agents, you got to really, truly listen and be ready to understand what the motivation is for them, right? What is their motivation? What are they looking to accomplish? So, sorry, going back to that. So you were asking the question,
how would you lock up somebody? Because here's the thing. And when in our business, we're locking up properties as low as possible. Okay. I always said, I used to always brag, right? Once I get my real estate license, I could lock up deals, because now I could just sell it as high as possible and list it for them, right? Well, I'm starting to see that there is a bit of a challenge, right? You got to build the credibility. You got to, they want people in your area. So as an agent, it's not as hard as, it's harder than you think it might be.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about what you would do as an agent or broker to get that listing above, rather than some other Joe Schmo agent. Because I could throw a rock and hit an agent, but why would somebody choose you over somebody else?
Right. And that it boils down to one thing, and that's value proposition, right? What is the value proposition? What makes me different than the other 10,000 licensed agents in this area? So the number one goal for our agents right now, if somebody calls in or whatever and has that conversation, is to make an appointment. Get to the property, make the appointment first and foremost. Yeah. There's no better way to solidify it. We have a script, a list of questions that we like to go over, and I can go over with you right now. So for example, hey, Aaron, this is Felipe. I'm really excited to meet with you tomorrow at 10 p.m. To browse the property. I just have a couple quick questions. You got a second?
Yeah, I have a second.
Awesome. All right. So I pulled up the information here. It does say it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and that it's yourself and Michaela. Will Michaela be there at the property tomorrow?
Yeah, I think she'll be here after work.
Okay, great. It's important, I think, for all of us to be there so we can kind of get all the questions answered. Sound fair?
Sounds fair.
Okay, great. So you purchased this back in 2008, is that right?
Yep, when the market was crap.
You paid a high price. It looks like the good news is with inflation and everything, it looks like you're going to be able to make some money on this after all. So tell me realistically, what price do you think the home is worth today?
That's a good question. I'm not so sure. It's why I called you.
Okay, great. So I just want to see if you had done some research. Have you looked at anything such as Zillow, or maybe talked to some friends or family about what you think the home is worth? Just curious to see where your thoughts are.
Yeah, I looked at some of those websites. I see my house is probably worth around $520,000.
Okay, great. Sounds good. And when the house sells, where are you planning on moving to?
I'm going to be moving in with a sister before we go into our next location.
Okay, great. Any places in mind? So as you see, so we have like this whole pre-listing script, and what we're trying to do is it's about 20 to 25 questions. And again, it all boils down, like you said, we can't be robotic. We got to listen. And
I love
so
it.
that conversation, what I've been teaching is if you can nail that pre-listing script, you literally go in ready to sign the contract. Does that make sense? So basically that pre-listing script is something that we're really, really dialed into. I don't have it in front of me. I was just going off the cuff, but so that's something that we focus on teaching is how to convert every time somebody says, "Hey, I'm thinking about selling." Great. I'll be over in about 2 hours, or when can I meet you? Or when can I go see the property? What upgrades have you done to the home? There's a long list of questions that we have, and we practice on the daily with agents to sharpen their tool belt, basically.
I love that because you're hitting on exactly what sales is asking good questions and active listening. That's all sales is.
And it's tough because a lot of people have a hard time with the listening part.
Right. Yeah.
It's hard. No. It's hard.
Very true. Felipe, let me ask you this. Kind of going on, you seem like you're a man of, inspiration. You read a lot of books, you listen to things, you're constantly bettering yourself. What have you personally listened to or read that just inspired you recently?
Recently, because I mean, I do listen to a lot of podcasts and book on tape. So I mean, I have a ton of them. But recently,
what's one do you give to your agents? Like you gotta read this.
The Art of Selling, Tom Hopkins.
That's
the one. That's the main one. The Art of Selling. A good one that I give to my employees and my staff, and I think this would be great for you as well, or anybody that has to oversee employees, for example. Fierce Conversations is a fabulous read.
Fierce Conversation. I haven't heard that one.
Don't worry. I'm sending you a book, so don't worry. It's called Fierce Conversations. Is a great read for anybody that's is in that position. Maybe you oversee some people, or you lead a team, or you own a business. I think it's a crucial book to have. I'm constantly. I'm not going to say I'm constantly reading books. I do have books on tape. I'm a big believer in that. I love the fact that you can just pause it, listen to it on the road. But The Art of Selling, Tom Hopkins, you have to read that one. Brian Tracy, anything with Brian Tracy is amazing for sales.
I love it.
Yep.
No, I'm looking forward to checking out that book, Fierce Conversations, because as you already know, we're always almost, leading a team goodbye if you can't have tough conversations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so a lot of people, we might have certain skill sets, but, having a conversation, understanding how to become better negotiators, anything you can read on negotiations is huge in my book, for sure.
100%. Well, Felipe, I thank you so much for coming on here and taking the time out of your busy schedule. Felipe, where can we find you to get people to bug you, DM you, and ask you for help?
Awesome. You know what? And I know that was probably something I should have been ready with, but again, so I don't focus on sales myself. You can always reach us and check out our website, century21preferred.com. You could check us out on social media as well. It's the Preferred C21 team. That's our handle there. We'll put it on the chat. We'll make sure we get all the good information for everybody out there as well.
All right. Well, welcome. Well, again, we'll see you next time here on the Real Estate Block Podcast.